Business news now. Sean Pellegrin is joining us. He's starting with the news today of the CEO of automaker Stellantis resigning from his position.
What if I told you one of the world's biggest automakers is drowning in over $40 billion of debt? And it's not just any automaker, it's Stellantis, the giant behind brands like Jeep, Dodge, and Chrysler. Could this be the end of their empire? You may not hear Stellantis mentioned every day, but you definitely know their cars. They made headlines with record-breaking profits last year, but now their stock is in free fall. Dealers are overwhelmed with unsold inventory, and their CEO has stepped down under pressure. What happened? How did this powerhouse stumble so quickly? And most importantly, what does this mean for current and future car buyers like you? Stick around. This is one automotive disaster you cannot afford to miss. What's happening? Imagine a financial storm so severe that it threatens to unravel one of the largest automakers in the world. This is the situation Stellantis finds itself in today. Stellantis' current debt load of $40 billion is a ticking time bomb. The company has seen its market value plummet, with shares falling by over 50% since early 2024. Investors are losing confidence, and analysts have raised red flags over the company's ability to weather the storm. At the heart of the crisis lies a combination of issues: unsold inventory clogging dealer lots, a collapse in U.S. sales of core brands, and costly recalls related to product quality. The financial burden is exacerbated by operational inefficiencies across North America. Internal reports highlight a steep decline in profitability, particularly for brands like Jeep and Ram, which were once the company's financial backbone. Moreover, Stellantis faces mounting pressure from various stakeholders. Shareholders are demanding immediate action, and the CEO has even resigned. Employees and suppliers are also voicing their frustrations, citing mismanagement and a lack of strategic direction. The company's leadership is at a crossroads, struggling to develop a plan that addresses both immediate financial concerns and long-term market relevance. While financial pressures build on all sides, the root of Stellantis' crisis lies in its performance within one critical region, North America. U.S. sales collapse. Stellantis' American brands, Jeep, Dodge, Chrysler, and Ram, have seen a sharp decline in sales, particularly in the first half of 2024. This decline is not just a temporary dip, it's part of a long-term downward trend that has eroded the company's market share over the past 3 years. Jeep, once a symbol of rugged American adventure, now faces criticism for poor quality and high prices. New models like the Grand Wagoneer, intended to compete with luxury SUVs, have failed to meet customer expectations. Dodge, after discontinuing popular muscle cars like the Charger and Challenger, has struggled to attract new buyers with its limited product offerings. Similarly, Ram trucks have lost ground to competitors like Ford's F-Series and General Motors' Silverado. Dealerships across the U.S. have expressed growing frustration with Stellantis' pricing strategies. Many dealers report that vehicles remain unsold for months due to price points that far exceed what consumers are willing to pay. In an open letter, members of Stellantis' National Dealer Council accused management of ignoring their concerns and failing to adapt to changing market conditions. The backlash intensifies. Stellantis dealers, particularly those selling Dodge, Jeep, and Ram brands, are facing mounting pressure as unsold, overpriced vehicles pile up. During the pandemic, Stellantis limited supply to drive up prices and short-term profits. However, when supply chains normalized in late 2023, consumers rejected inflated prices, turning to more affordable alternatives from competitors. Dave Kelleher, a Pennsylvania-based Dodge and Jeep dealer, described the situation as dire. Dealer profits, which once averaged 4.5% of sales, now hover at less than 1%. Many dealerships are operating at a loss, with inventory stagnating as new models fail to sell. Kelleher noted that he had 473 cars, valued at over $27 million, sitting idle on his lot. Sales across the region have slowed dramatically, with customers refusing to pay perceived premiums. Exacerbating the crisis, Stellantis has discontinued key models like the Jeep Cherokee and Chrysler 300, which once drew budget-conscious buyers. Without these options, dealers are struggling to attract new customers. They have issued open letters demanding improved support and strategic product planning from Stellantis leadership. Although the company has rolled out limited incentives, dealers feel these efforts are too little, too late. They believe that rebuilding consumer trust will require deeper price cuts and a more competitive product lineup. Without decisive changes, some fear their businesses may not survive the downturn. Adding to the tension, Stellantis' relationship with its dealer network and other stakeholders has hit a breaking point. Dealers argue that corporate management is out of touch with on-the-ground realities. Sales incentives have been either minimal or poorly timed, further complicating efforts to move excess inventory as new 2025 models arrive. The discontent is not limited to dealers. Labor tensions have escalated. In early 2024, the United Auto Workers Union threatened to strike, citing disputes over wages, job security, and working conditions. Stellantis' North American operations, once highly profitable, have become a flashpoint for labor unrest. The company's temporary plant shutdowns and layoffs have worsened tensions with its workforce. Suppliers have also entered the conflict, halting production due to unresolved pricing disputes. Several have initiated legal battles seeking compensation for delayed payments and contract violations. These disruptions are crippling Stellantis' production capabilities, exacerbating the inventory crisis. Dealers, labor unions, and suppliers alike are demanding urgent reforms, warning that without swift corrective actions, the company may face a prolonged and deeper collapse in sales and production output. These disruptions are undermining Stellantis' ability to maintain steady production output, worsening the inventory crisis. Short-term versus long-term strategy. As internal and external pressures mount, questions about Stellantis' leadership and long-term strategy have become impossible to ignore. Critics argue that the former CEO's short-term focus on cost-cutting and price increases has come at the expense of sustainable growth. While Stellantis initially reaped record profits during the pandemic by raising prices and slashing overhead, these tactics have proven unsustainable in a more competitive post-pandemic market. Industry observers point to Stellantis' failure to invest in product innovation as a key factor behind its current struggles. Unlike rivals such as Ford and Toyota, which have successfully refreshed their product lines and adapted to new market trends, Stellantis has been slow to evolve. Many of its models are outdated, and the company's transition to electric vehicles has been inconsistent and poorly communicated. Tavares' defenders, however, argue that he inherited a complex organization burdened by inefficiencies from both Fiat Chrysler and Group PSA. They contend that Stellantis' debt problems stem from decades of mismanagement and underinvestment, particularly in North American operations. Nevertheless, calls for leadership change are growing louder, with some stakeholders advocating for a fresh vision to steer the company out of its current crisis. With its survival on the line, Stellantis must confront the hard truths behind its debt disaster. To understand how it reached this point, let's talk about the events and decisions that shaped its trajectory, from the ambitious merger that created the company to the missteps that followed. The Stellantis merger. In early 2021, the merger between Fiat Chrysler Automobiles and France's Group PSA gave birth to Stellantis. This merger created the fourth largest automaker globally, controlling 14 brands, including Jeep, Dodge, Ram, Chrysler, Peugeot, and Opel. The rationale behind the merger was simple: to combine resources, reduce costs, and compete more effectively in an automotive industry that was rapidly shifting towards electric vehicles and digital innovation. Carlos Tavares, who had successfully turned Group PSA around, was appointed as the CEO of Stellantis. His primary objective was to extract at least $5 billion in annual cost savings from synergies. Stellantis streamlined operations by sharing vehicle platforms, engines, and supply chains across brands. Initial reports suggested that Stellantis exceeded these goals, achieving $8 billion in savings within its first 2 years. However, the merger also brought significant challenges. The two companies had vastly different corporate cultures, supply chains, and brand strategies. Group PSA's expertise in small, efficient cars clashed with FCA's focus on large SUVs, trucks, and muscle cars. Instead of a cohesive strategy, Stellantis struggled with balancing these competing priorities. Over time, these internal conflicts slowed product development and led to misaligned investments, contributing to the financial difficulties that the company faces today. Although the merger was aimed at long-term success, a series of short-term factors, particularly the pandemic, created an illusion of financial security for Stellantis. The pandemic profit boom and its false security. The COVID-19 pandemic turned the global automotive industry upside down. Factory shutdowns, supply chain disruptions, and semiconductor shortages severely limited the production of new vehicles. However, this scarcity drove prices to unprecedented levels as demand for personal transportation surged in response to lockdowns and travel restrictions. Stellantis capitalized on this environment by significantly raising prices on its most popular models, including Jeep SUVs and Ram Ram trucks. Some models saw price increases of over 30%, with high-end offerings like the Grand Wagoneer entering luxury territory at more than $120,000. Dealers, benefiting from the supply-demand imbalance, marked up vehicles even further, resulting in record profits across the industry. In 2022 and 2023, Stellantis reported operating profits exceeding $25 billion annually. These results temporarily masked deeper structural issues, including product quality problems, outdated models, and insufficient investments in future technologies. Critics argue that Stellantis relied too heavily on price hikes and cost-cutting, neglecting the need to refresh its lineup and address long-term strategic goals. Once the market normalized, the company was left vulnerable to declining sales and rising competition. One of the clearest examples of Stellantis' strategic missteps can be seen in the declining fortunes of Jeep, a brand that was once a cornerstone of its success. Jeep's fall from grace. Jeep has historically been one of Stellantis' most profitable brands. Known for its rugged image and off-road capability, the brand enjoyed strong customer loyalty throughout much of the 2010s. However, in recent years, Jeep has faced significant setbacks due to a combination of product quality issues, pricing missteps, and competition from both established rivals and new players. One major issue has been the introduction of premium models like the Grand Wagoneer, which aim to compete with luxury SUVs such as the Cadillac Escalade and Range Rover. While Jeep positioned these models as high-end offerings, they failed to deliver the quality and refinement that luxury buyers expect. Reports of mechanical failures, software glitches, and poor interior build quality damaged the brand's reputation. Consumer Reports ranked multiple Jeep models among the least reliable vehicles in the United States market. Simultaneously, Jeep has struggled to maintain relevance in global markets. In Europe, for example, stricter emissions regulations and changing consumer preferences have hurt sales of Jeep's traditionally gas-guzzling models. Attempts to introduce hybrid and plug-in hybrid versions, such as the Wrangler 4xe, have been met with mixed reviews, with buyers citing both limited electric range and reliability concerns. Meanwhile, in the United States, Stellantis' decision to discontinue lower-cost Jeep models, such as the Cherokee and Renegade, further complicated matters. These models had served as entry points for new customers, and their removal alienated price-sensitive buyers, reducing Jeep's competitiveness in the mass-market SUV segment. As sales declined, dealerships struggled to move inventory, leading to growing tensions between Stellantis and its dealer network. While Jeep's troubles highlighted Stellantis' struggles with existing products, the company's failure to adapt quickly to the electric vehicle revolution has further compounded its challenges. The missed EV transition. By 2024, the global automotive industry was undergoing a rapid transformation toward electrification. Governments worldwide introduced stricter emissions regulations, while consumer demand for electric vehicles surged. Companies like Tesla, Ford, and General Motors accelerated their EV strategies, launching high-profile models that captured market attention. Stellantis, however, found itself playing catch-up. The company's EV strategy, known as the Stellantis Dare Forward plan, aimed to introduce more than 75 fully electric models by 2030, yet early execution was inconsistent and poorly communicated to both consumers and investors. Unlike competitors who emphasize flagship EV launches, Stellantis' EV offerings, such as the Jeep Wrangler 4xe Hybrid, were seen as incremental updates rather than groundbreaking innovations. One notable example of Stellantis' EV struggles is the Ram EV pickup truck. Intended to compete with the Ford F-150 Lightning and Rivian R1T, the Ram EV faced repeated delays and production setbacks. Critics argue that Stellantis underestimated the engineering challenges of developing a competitive electric truck, leading to missed opportunities in a fast-growing market segment. Additionally, Stellantis' reliance on multiple powertrain options, including hybrids, plug-in hybrids, and internal combustion engines, created confusion among consumers and hindered the company's ability to streamline development. As rivals gained a head start in EV sales and infrastructure partnerships, Stellantis' market share in key regions like North America and Europe continued to erode. With Stellantis facing mounting debt, deteriorating brand loyalty, and missed opportunities in electrification, the road ahead is fraught with challenges. The growing unrest among Stellantis' stakeholders culminated in a major shift at the top, with the resignation of Carlos Tavares. Leadership overhaul. Carlos Tavares steps down. After months of pressure from dealers, investors, and unions, Carlos Tavares stepped down as Stellantis' chief executive officer in December 2024. Tavares had played a pivotal role in the merger that formed Stellantis, streamlining costs and securing record profits during the early years of the company. However, critics accused him of prioritizing short-term financial gains over sustainable growth, undermining long-term stability and product innovation. Under Tavares' leadership, Stellantis aggressively cut costs by reducing staff, discontinuing models, and limiting product updates. These decisions created friction within the United Auto Workers Union, which accused the company of shifting resources away from North American operations. Dealers echoed similar concerns, citing a lack of fresh models to attract buyers. Supply chain disputes, declining sales, and rising debt added further pressure. Following Tavares' resignation, Stellantis appointed an interim leadership council to stabilize operations. Industry observers suggest the company's next chief executive officer will need to focus on restoring relationships with key stakeholders, revamping the product strategy, and managing the company's ballooning debt crisis. Analysts warn that without swift action, Stellantis risks losing further market share to competitors like Toyota and Ford. While Stellantis dealt with leadership and operational issues in North America, its global strategy was also faltering, particularly in the vital Chinese market, where rapidly changing consumer preferences and stronger competition from local brands hindered growth. Abandoning China, Stellantis' missed opportunity. China, the world's largest auto market, was once a key growth target for Stellantis. However, the company struggled to gain traction in the region, plagued by poor product alignment and strategic missteps. Stellantis' joint venture with Guangzhou Automobile Group collapsed in 2023, effectively ending its large-scale ambitions in China. One of Stellantis' primary challenges was its failure to compete in China's booming electric vehicle market. Local automakers such as BYD and NIO, along with global players like Tesla, captured consumer interest with innovative EV models. Stellantis, by contrast, was slow to develop locally tailored electric and hybrid options, leaving it unable to compete. Additionally, the company underestimated the importance of brand localization and customer engagement. Chinese consumers, known for their tech-savvy preferences, gravitated toward vehicles that integrated cutting-edge digital features such as advanced driver assistance systems and in-car connectivity. Stellantis' offerings, however, often lagged behind in these areas, reinforcing perceptions that its vehicles were outdated. Furthermore, regulatory obstacles, including strict emission standards and local production mandates, added further strain on Stellantis' operations. Efforts to revamp brand image through marketing campaigns, including collaborations with Chinese influencers and promotions at major auto shows, failed to generate the desired impact. Sales continued to decline, while competitors like Volkswagen and General Motors solidified their dominance. By 2024, Stellantis significantly scaled back its Chinese operations, shifting its focus to core markets in Europe and South America. This retreat, however, left a significant gap in the company's global growth strategy, weakening its ability to compete on the world stage. Even as Stellantis worked to recover from these market setbacks, another crisis unfolded within its supply chain, causing production disruptions and further eroding dealer and consumer confidence. The loss of momentum in China remains a critical obstacle in Stellantis' path to long-term global competitiveness. Supplier disputes and production delays. Supply chain stability became a major concern for Stellantis in early 2024. Tensions with key suppliers, particularly regarding semiconductor availability and raw material costs, resulted in production slowdowns and plant shutdowns. Stellantis, struggling under a heavy debt load, attempted to renegotiate contracts with suppliers, demanding price reductions. These disputes led to disruptions in the production of high-demand models such as the Jeep Wrangler 4xe and Ram 1500. Dealers reported long wait times for new deliveries, which frustrated customers and drove them toward competing brands. Additionally, quality control suffered as Stellantis faced difficulties maintaining consistent component supplies. The semiconductor shortage, a lingering issue since the pandemic, was particularly damaging. Stellantis was forced to prioritize higher-margin models, leaving other vehicles underproduced or delayed. Analysts noted that supply chain instability could jeopardize the company's ability to launch new electric and hybrid vehicles, which are crucial to its future strategy. To mitigate these challenges, Stellantis began renegotiating contracts and investing in more localized supply chains. However, these efforts will take time to yield results. In the meantime, the company faces growing pressure to stabilize its operations and reduce inventory backlogs. Stellantis' current predicament highlights a series of interconnected crises: dealer discontent, leadership changes, missed opportunities in China, and supply chain instability. But as history has shown, even major automakers can rebound if they implement decisive changes. Now let's talk about how other industry giants overcame their own financial and reputational disasters. As Stellantis grapples with its current crises, it's important to examine how other automotive giants have navigated their own challenges, starting with Toyota's surprising struggles with engine reliability. Toyota's twin-turbo engine woes. Toyota has long been a symbol of reliability, but the shift from traditional V8 engines to twin-turbocharged V6 engines in models like the new Toyota Tundra has sparked unexpected issues. Toyota aimed to improve fuel efficiency and performance with these engines, but customers reported recurring problems, including overheating, oil leaks, and premature engine failures. The turbocharging system, designed to boost engine power, often places additional strain on internal components. Critics argue that Toyota, in its effort to meet stringent emissions and fuel efficiency standards, may have compromised long-term reliability, something it was previously renowned for. Consumers, particularly those who bought early models of the new Tundra, expressed frustration as repair costs skyrocketed and warranty claims increased. To combat these problems, Toyota enhanced its inspection processes and adjusted its engine design in 2024. However, the company still faces an uphill battle in restoring customer confidence in its once impeccable reliability record. Toyota isn't the only automaker to face backlash over engine technology. Ford had its own painful learning curve with the introduction of EcoBoost. Ford's EcoBoost engine fiasco. Ford introduced the EcoBoost engine line to deliver better fuel economy without sacrificing power. These engines, which feature turbocharging and direct fuel injection, were marketed as an innovative solution for modern driving needs. Unfortunately, early EcoBoost models encountered serious issues, including carbon buildup on intake valves, turbocharger failures, and oil leaks. These problems left many customers dealing with costly repairs and frequent breakdowns. The underlying issue was the combination of turbocharging and direct injection, which increased engine heat and reduced airflow across critical components. This led to excessive carbon deposits on the intake valves, causing performance degradation and engine misfires. Ford initially downplayed the problem but eventually implemented several changes, such as improved valve cleaning technology and redesigned engine components. By 2023, Ford had largely resolved the major complaints through recalls and customer service campaigns, but the damage to its reputation lingered. Today, Ford emphasizes transparency and routine maintenance guidelines to prevent similar setbacks with new models. While Toyota and Ford's issues were largely technical, Volkswagen faced a reputational crisis that stemmed from deliberate corporate misconduct. Volkswagen's emissions scandal. The Volkswagen emissions scandal, also known as Dieselgate, emerged in 2015 and became one of the largest corporate scandals in automotive history. Volkswagen had installed illegal software in millions of diesel vehicles to manipulate emissions test results. While vehicles appeared compliant in laboratory tests, they emitted up to 40 times the legal limit of nitrogen oxides under real-world driving conditions. The fallout was immediate and devastating. Volkswagen faced lawsuits, billions of dollars in fines, and a sharp decline in consumer trust. Many customers who had purchased diesel models felt betrayed by a company that had marketed its vehicles as both environmentally friendly and high-performing. In response, Volkswagen overhauled its leadership and committed to transparency and environmental responsibility. The company accelerated its shift toward electric vehicles, investing tens of billions of dollars in new technology and production facilities. Models like the Volkswagen ID.4 became part of its strategy to rebuild its reputation and regain market share. While the company has made progress, analysts note that Volkswagen's recovery is ongoing. The scandal serves as a reminder of the long-term damage that unethical corporate decisions can inflict on a brand. Volkswagen's recovery efforts offer valuable lessons for Stellantis, which finds itself at a similar crossroads due to a combination of poor leadership, market missteps, and product concerns. Stellantis' parallels with industry failures. Although Stellantis' situation differs in its specifics, the core challenges, declining trust, operational inefficiencies, and strategic miscalculations are strikingly familiar. Like Toyota and Ford, Stellantis has faced backlash over unreliable technology, with customers complaining about software malfunctions and engine issues in newer Jeep and Dodge models. Additionally, the company's high pricing strategy, reminiscent of Ford's mistakes with early EcoBoost, has driven away value-conscious buyers. From a leadership perspective, Stellantis' trajectory mirrors Volkswagen's struggles during the Dieselgate crisis. Carlos Tavares, the former CEO, focused heavily on cost-cutting and short-term profit maximization, but these tactics have undermined long-term stability. Similar to how Volkswagen restructured after its scandal, Stellantis may need to invest in both product quality and customer engagement initiatives to rebuild its reputation. Furthermore, Stellantis must address its debt burden, which exceeds $40 billion, by developing sustainable growth strategies rather than relying on aggressive pricing. This includes optimizing its supply chain, enhancing dealer relationships, and refocusing on core markets like North America, where brand loyalty remains a crucial factor. By learning from these case studies, Stellantis has a roadmap for recovery. If the company can balance innovation with reliability and maintain transparency with stakeholders, it may avoid the long-term decline that has plagued other automakers. The automotive industry has repeatedly shown that recovery is possible, even from catastrophic failures. Stellantis now stands at a pivotal moment, with lessons from Toyota, Ford, and Volkswagen offering both warnings and guidance for its next steps. But will Stellantis follow through with decisive action, or will it become another cautionary tale? So, what do you think? Can Stellantis overcome this $40 billion debt crisis? Or are we on the verge of major industry shifts? Have you experienced issues with Stellantis brands like Jeep, Dodge, Chrysler, or Ram, such as quality concerns, price hikes, or poor dealer support? Or do you believe they still have a shot at leading the market with their electric vehicle and hybrid plans? Share your thoughts in the comments. If you found this video informative, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more updates on the biggest automotive shakeups.